Future wife, isn't it strange? We haven't met yet, but every night, before I fall asleep, I talk to God about you like my heart already knows yours. And maybe somewhere tonight, you're praying for me too. There are nights when the world goes silent, and all I can hear is the sound of my own heart searching for you. Future wife. Even before I know your smile, even before I hold your hand, I already speak your name to God in my prayers every single night. I pray that wherever you are, life is being gentle with your soul. I pray that your heart is healing from every pain you never deserved, and I pray that one day, when our eyes finally meet, you'll feel that someone had been loving you long before destiny introduced us. People think love begins when two people meet. But I believe real love begins much earlier. In lonely nights, in silent hopes, in whispered prayers nobody hears except God, and maybe tonight, while I'm talking about you with tears in my eyes and hope in my heart, you are somewhere out there, also waiting for a love that feels safe, loyal, and forever. Future wife. There's something I need to confess to you tonight. Something deeply personal. Something nobody sees when I smile during the day or pretend to be strong in front of the world. Every single night, before I close my eyes, before sleep slowly carries me away, I whisper your name in my prayers. Even though I still haven't met you. Maybe that sounds strange to some people. Maybe they would laugh at the idea of loving someone who hasn't arrived yet, but my soul has always believed that real love exists before two people finally meet. I believe hearts can recognize each other long before eyes ever do. And somehow, somewhere deep inside me, I feel you already exist in my story. There are nights when the world becomes unbearably quiet. Nights when the loneliness inside my chest echoes louder than any sound around me. And during those moments, I think about you. I wonder where you are. I wonder if life has been kind to you today. I wonder if your heart is carrying invisible scars just like mine. Sometimes I sit alone for hours with thoughts I cannot explain to anyone else. Thoughts about building a life with someone who feels like peace instead of pain. Someone who doesn't make love feel complicated. Someone whose presence feels like home after years of emotional storms. And every time those thoughts appear, they always end with you. I pray for your happiness before I even know your favorite color. I pray for your healing before I even hear your voice. I pray that God protects your heart from people who only know how to break beautiful things, because if you truly are meant for me, then your soul is already precious to mine. The truth is, I've seen too much emptiness in this world. I've seen people pretending to love each other, while secretly destroying one another. I've seen relationships that survive physically but die emotionally years before they end. And maybe that's why I pray for us so much. Because I don't want a temporary connection. I don't want a love built on convenience, attraction, or fear of being alone. I want something deeper, something honest. Something soft enough to heal wounds and strong enough to survive difficult days. Future wife, maybe don't pray for perfection when I pray for you. I don't ask God to send me the most beautiful woman in the world or someone without flaws. I ask for someone real. Someone whose heart still believes in loyalty even after disappointment. Someone who chooses kindness even when life gives her reasons to become cold. Someone who understands that love is not just romance during good moments. It's patience during hard moments too. And honestly, there are nights when I worry about you. Not because I doubt God, but because I know how cruel this world can be to gentle hearts. I know what it feels like to give love sincerely, and receive pain in return. I know what it feels like to trust the wrong people and spend years trying to heal from invisible damage. So, sometimes I whisper little prayers asking God to comfort you on days when nobody notices your sadness. I ask Him to send you peace during nights when anxiety steals your sleep. I ask Him to remind you of your worth during moments when life makes you question yourself. I ask Him to protect the softness inside your soul, because softness is rare now. People act like caring deeply is weakness, but I think it's one of the bravest things a person can do. Maybe right now, while I'm speaking these words into the silence, you're somewhere staring out your window feeling misunderstood by the world around you. Maybe you're wondering if real love still exists. Maybe you're tired of temporary people entering your life with permanent damage in their hands, and maybe part of you has already stopped believing someone could love you gently. But I need you to know something. Love I carry for you is not rushed. It's patient, it's careful. It's the kind of love that pays attention to small details because your heart would matter to me. I would notice when your smile feels forced. I would notice when your silence hides pain. I would notice the little things about you that other people ignore. Because when a man truly loves a woman, he studies her soul, not just her appearance. I imagine the little moments with you sometimes. Not grand movie scenes or perfect fairy tales, just simple things, sitting together after a difficult day, and feeling peace in the silence between us. Watching you laugh at something small, and realizing that sound alone could heal parts of me the world damaged. Holding your hand during moments when words aren't enough. Praying beside you when life becomes heavy. You know what's beautiful about praying for someone you haven't met yet? It teaches you to love selflessly. Because I'm not praying for what you can give me. I'm praying for your well-being before you even belong to my life. I'm asking God to protect your mind, your heart, your future, your peace. And maybe that's what real love begins as. Genuine care before possession. There were moments in my life when I almost gave up on the idea of love completely. Moments when disappointment became so familiar that loneliness started feeling safer than connection. Because when people hurt you enough times, your heart begins building walls without permission. You start pretending you don't need anyone. You convince yourself that isolation is strength. But deep inside, the soul still longs for companionship, and somehow, thoughts of you softened me again. Not because I created some fantasy in my head, but because believing in you helped me believe in love again. The idea that somewhere out there exists a woman whose heart could understand mine made the darkness feel less permanent. Future wife. AB, wonder if you pray for me too. I wonder if there are nights when you speak to God about a man you haven't met yet. A man who would protect your heart, instead of playing with it. A man who would choose honesty, even when lies are easier. A man who would stay loyal even when life becomes difficult. I hope you know that when we finally meet someday, I won't arrive as a perfect man. I'll come with scars, memories, regrets and lessons. Life forced me to learn the hard way, but I'll also come with sincerity. With loyalty. With a heart that understands the value of emotional safety because it once lived without it. I think people underestimate how deeply words can affect someone. A gentle sentence can save a person during a difficult day. A cruel sentence can haunt someone for years. That's why I want my love for you to feel safe. I never want your heart to feel alone while standing beside me. I never want you to beg for reassurance or question your value in my life. Because love should never feel like emotional survival. It should feel like peace returning home after a long war inside your chest. Some nights I picture us years from now, sitting together in a quiet room while the world outside keeps rushing endlessly. And in that moment, maybe we won't even need many words. Because our souls will already understand each other. There's a rare kind of intimacy in being emotionally safe with someone. A rare kind of comfort in knowing you can fully be yourself without fear of judgment or abandonment. That's what I pray for when I whisper your name every night. Not just romance, not temporary excitement, but emotional sanctuary. A connection where both of us can finally rest our tired hearts. I know life won't always be easy for us. Love doesn't magically remove pain from existence. There will be stressful days, misunderstandings, fears, and moments when the weight of the world feels overwhelming. But I promise you this. I will never stop choosing us during difficult times, because real love is not measured by how people behave during beautiful moments. It's measured by how they treat each other when life becomes ugly. I want to become the kind of husband whose presence calms your fears instead of creating new ones. The kind of man who listens carefully when you speak because your thoughts matter. The kind of partner who protects your heart even during arguments, because anger should never become cruelty. Future wife. Sometimes I wonder what your smile looks like when it's genuine. I wonder how your eyes look when you talk about things you love passionately. I wonder if you also hide your pain behind quietness the way I sometimes do. Maybe that's why I feel connected to you already, because souls who understand sadness recognize each other differently. I don't need a perfect relationship with you. I just want something real, something where we can both remove the masks we wear for the world, and finally breathe honestly beside each other. A love where vulnerability is safe instead of dangerous. and if you ever come into my life carrying emotional wounds from your past, I promise I will never use them against you. I know how painful it is when someone learns your softness only to weaponize it later. Love should protect vulnerability, not punish it. That's another reason I pray for you every night. Because I know healing takes time. I know some scars remain invisible, even when people smile beautifully on the outside. So I ask God to heal the parts of your heart nobody else sees. The hidden fears. The silent disappointments. The moments you cried alone, because you felt emotionally exhausted. I hope life is gentle with you until we meet. I hope your heart survives every storm without losing its ability to love sincerely. I hope you never settle for people who only appreciate you temporarily. You deserve a love that stays. A love that speaks kindly. A love that chooses loyalty privately, not just publicly. Sometimes, before sleeping, I imagine placing my hand over yours and silently thanking God for finally bringing us together after years of waiting. And honestly, that thought alone brings warmth into my chest. Because after everything life has taught me, I've realized something important. Meaningful love is rare. And rare things are always worth praying for. I don't know how long it will take before destiny finally allows our paths to cross. Maybe soon, maybe years from now. But until that moment arrives, I'll continue whispering prayers for you into the quiet darkness of every night. I'll continue asking God to guide your steps when life feels confusing. I'll continue asking Him to comfort your heart, your pain, seasons. I'll continue asking Him to protect the future we haven't even lived yet, because even though we haven't met, my soul already carries care for you. And maybe that's what love truly is in the beginning. Not possession, not obsession, but sincere prayers spoken softly for someone your heart somehow already recognizes from afar. Some loves begin with a touch, but ours began with prayers whispered into the silence. Before I ever saw your face, before destiny ever allowed our paths to cross, there was already something inside me searching for you. Something quiet, something deep. A feeling I could never fully explain to anyone around me. While the world chased temporary connections and fast emotions, my heart kept waiting for something slower. Something real. And somehow, without even knowing your name, I think my soul was already reaching for yours. Future wife. There were nights when loneliness sat beside me like an old friend. Nights when the room felt heavy with silence and memories. Nights when I smiled in front of people all day, only to come home carrying emotions I never spoke about. And during those moments, I would close my eyes and think about you, not as a fantasy, not as some perfect dream, but as a real woman somewhere in this world, whose heart might be as tired as mine. I used to wonder why my heart never settled for shallow love, why temporary attention never satisfied me the way it seemed to satisfy everyone else. Maybe it's because deep inside, I was waiting for a connection touched by something greater than attraction. I was waiting for the kind of love that feels written by God, long before two people finally meet, and that's why our love began with prayers, not messages, not kisses, not promises whispered under but prayers spoken softly into the darkness, when nobody else could hear me except God. I prayed for your peace before I ever knew your voice. I prayed for your safety, before I ever held your hand. I prayed for your healing, before I ever learned what hurt you. Maybe that sounds strange in a world where people only care about what benefits them directly. But loving you before meeting you taught me something beautiful. Real love begins with care, not possession. There's something sacred about praying for someone who doesn't even belong to your life yet. Because those prayers are pure. They are not motivated by ego or control. They come from a sincere place inside the soul. And every night, when the world slowed down and silence filled the air, my heart spoke to God about you, like you already mattered deeply to me, future wife. Wonder if you know how often I've asked heaven to protect your heart from people who only know how to break gentle souls. I know what emotional pain can do to a person. I know how disappointment changes the way someone loves, how betrayal creates fear where trust once lived, how being abandoned too many times can make even the strongest heart question its worth. So, when I pray for you, I don't just pray for our future together. I pray for the woman you are right now, wherever you may be. I pray that life softens around your heart instead of hardening it. I pray that even after every painful thing you've experienced, You never lose your ability to love sincerely, because this world has a cruel way of turning kind people cold, and I never want that to happen to you. I hope you never mistake your softness for weakness. The world may reward people who pretend not to care, but there's something powerful about a heart that remains gentle after suffering. And if you are the woman meant for me, then I know, your heart has survived battles nobody talks about openly. Maybe you've cried quietly in rooms full of people who never noticed your sadness. Maybe you've given your love to people who only appreciated it temporarily. Maybe you've spent nights wondering why genuine love feels so difficult to find in a world full of empty promises. Believe me, I understand that feeling. There were moments when I almost stopped believing in love completely. Moments when emotional pain became so familiar that I convinced myself loneliness was safer than attachment. Because when someone breaks your trust deeply enough, part of you begins fearing connection itself. You start hiding emotions. You stop expecting permanence from people. You act okay while carrying invisible exhaustion inside your chest. But even during those moments, thoughts of you remain strangely comforting. Not because I imagined perfection, but because I imagined peace. I imagined sitting beside someone who didn't make love feel like emotional confusion. Someone whose presence felt calm instead of chaotic. Someone who understood that loyalty is not just about staying physically faithful. It's also about protecting someone emotionally when they are vulnerable. Future wife Abby, don't want us to become one of those couples who slowly stop seeing each other's hearts. I never want routine to make us forget the miracle of finding each other in this massive world. Because, honestly, what are the chances, out of billions of people, two souls somehow finding the exact person they were praying for? That alone feels sacred to me. And maybe one day, years from now, we'll sit together late at night, while the world outside sleeps. Maybe you'll rest your head against my shoulder while silence fills the room peacefully. And maybe I'll smile quietly, because I'll remember all those nights when I spoke to God about you before I even knew your face. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about destiny. Sometimes your heart recognizes someone long before your eyes ever do. There's a certain loneliness that comes from having too much love inside you with nowhere safe to place it. I've carried that feeling for years. Wanting to love deeply but refusing to give my heart to temporary people. Wanting something meaningful in a world obsessed with convenience. And honestly, waiting hasn't always been easy. There were nights when I questioned if real love like ours still existed. Nights when watching broken relationships around me made hope feel foolish. People leave so easily now. People replace each other so quickly. Loyalty has become rare. Effort has become rare. Genuine emotional connection has become rare. But every time doubt entered my heart, prayer brought me back to peace, because love guided by God does not need to rush, and maybe that's why I feel calm when I think about you. Even without knowing when we'll meet, something inside me trusts that our story is already being written, quietly behind the scenes of our lives. Future wife. Abby, hope when life hurts you, you never forget your value. I hope you never shrink yourself, just to be accepted, by people who cannot appreciate your heart properly. I hope you never beg for the bare minimum from someone who claims to love you. You deserve consistency, you deserve gentleness, you deserve someone who chooses you with certainty, and if God allows me to become your husband one day, I promise I will never take your love lightly. Because I know how precious genuine hearts are now. I know how rare it is to find someone who still believes in commitment, honesty, patience, and emotional safety. I want to become the kind of man who protects your peace instead of disturbing it, the kind of partner who notices when your smile hides sadness, the kind of husband who listens carefully to your silence because sometimes silence says more than words ever could. You know what I find beautiful? The idea that while we are living separate lives right now, our prayers might already be crossing paths in heaven. While I'm asking God for a woman like you, maybe somewhere you are asking him for a man like me, and maybe all this waiting is not punishment. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe God is teaching us lessons separately so we can love each other properly when the time finally comes. Maybe he's healing wounds we don't even realize would hurt our future together. Maybe he's shaping our hearts slowly so our love arrives mature instead of careless. For
your wife?
If you ever feel alone before we meet, I hope somehow these words reach your soul. I hope you realize there's already someone in this world praying for your happiness sincerely. Someone asking God to comfort you during hard days. Someone hoping your heart survives every disappointment, without losing faith in love completely, and until destiny finally places you in front of me, I'll continue whispering your name into my prayers every night. Not because I'm lonely, but because my heart already carries genuine care for you, because some loves begin with flowers, some begin with attraction, some begin with chance meetings, but ours began quietly, spiritually, and sincerely, with prayers whispered into the silence.